Welcome to Two Brothers and an Idea. I am. They call me Ferdinand, the bringer of balance, leader of many disciplines, and one of your hosts of Two Brothers and an Idea. And tonight, it'll just be Ferdinand for Two Brothers and an Idea. Tetaun, he had some things he had to take care of, so you got me today. All right, so today we're going to be talking about emergency preparation lists. There's a lot of uncertainty right now with things that are going on. There's various different posts that are out there about the American dollar and what it's doing. So I like to help each and every person out there to be prepared, to be in a position where you and your family are safe in the midst of the things that are happening right now. Not just the things that are going to happen in the near future as this gets a little worse, but what's happening right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this emergency preparation list up. All right. All right, so the first thing that I recommend is locating and securing shelter. Not necessarily like having another city you can go to. This is one of those situations where being outside of a city would be as wise as possible. So I highly recommend um, being out deep in the country somewhere. If you can be out in the middle of the woods, that's even better. This may sound a little far fetched, but the things that are happening right now are going to put a lot of people in a position where they don't have the things that they feel like they need for everyday life. Medicine is going to be affected in the supply chain strike. Water and food, all these things are going to be affected. Hyperinflation is coming if it hasn't already come. So these are things that we want to think about on how people will react to these situations. So locating and securing shelter would be the first thing I would say. Having some type of a bunker or a cabin out in the woods, this is some of the best protection that you'll be able to have in the midst of what's going on. So the second thing that I would say a person will want to do when they're preparing for a major emergency is create a 90-day food supply. You can go out and get a bunch of canned foods, but I highly recommend having a garden or getting your food from a farmer's market and then freeze drying, canning and jarring it. Multiple different options there. All right, so let's go ahead into the next one. Number 3 is grow as much food as possible. And the reason why you want to grow your food, in my opinion, is because if we get to a point where there's no opportunity to go to hospitals or local clinics, then now if people are still eating food that has poison in it, then if you have issues, if you don't have a medical professional or a holistic health, more than likely you're going to need a holistic health professional because if medical supplies aren't available, then now that medical professional, there's a certain amount that they're going to be able to do. And then there's going to be other things that's going to kind of block them from not having that environment they need to really help a person. Right. So a holistic health provider will be able to use the earth wherever they're at to be able to help a person heal. Right. But if a person's, eating poison, so I highly recommend grow your food. And that's going to give you a chance to have food that has the least amount of toxins in it. Can and jar that food, freeze dry that food, have a lot of that food on standby in your shelter location, as well as wherever you live at currently, right? And let's say a person lives out in the sticks, out in the country. All right, well, you might not need a shelter location. You're where you live at is one. Then there's a lot of people who live in cities where in the near future you might need to get out of that city. Number 4 is grow a large garden at your shelter location. So don't just grow a garden at the location where you live at. Grow a garden wherever you're going to as well, even if you're not there on a regular basis. Have that garden going on a regular basis. So now what happens is the seeds are dropping. And that food is naturally now growing in that location. So whenever you get there, if you ain't really got the energy, or you need to heal, or whatever is going on, and you just need to rest for a little bit, you can go outside and food is growing. Plus you also got freeze dried food, and you've got canned and jarred food in that same location. And make sure that that food is in multiple different parts of that property, not just in one place. Number 5, locate and drill a water well. All right, this is super important. At that location, have your own water supply. You don't know what's going to happen with these water companies, and what kind of issues that they may run into, and now everybody who's connected to it is now having some type of issues because they're all drinking the same water, they're all showering with the same water, they're all washing their dishes and cooking with the same water, right? So if you have your own water supply, now you have a better opportunity to have some water that might not have different types of chemicals in it, and it more than likely is going to have a higher alkalinity, a higher pH balance, right? So locating and drilling your well is not that difficult. You can go on Amazon or a couple of different stores online, and you can get you a water well auger, right? And it'll probably be like, I don't know, a little over $100 or something like that. But for a little over $100, you can start to set yourself up to have your own water supply, right? That's major. All right, number 6, set up lines to hang clothes. If you're in another environment and you might have to be there for weeks or months, possibly years, well, you're gonna live. You're gonna be living just like you would live anywhere else. So you're gonna need to wash your clothes. You're gonna need to dry them, right? The ancient way, right? So you're out there with the wash bucket, washing your clothes, and then you got to hang them up on the lines to dry, or you might hang them from trees or something like that. But identify how you're going to keep your clothes clean, and set up those options for yourself. Number 7 is create a seed bank. Think about what you would need for nutrition while you're not in a environment where it's easy to get those things, right? So for nutrition, you're going to need fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. Okay. And you can get all 3 of them at the highest clip from the plant kingdom. Okay. So create your seed bank. Make sure you got your seeds. Be prepared. Number 8, gather paper maps. I really want to stress this about gathering paper maps. Understand that if a system is collapsing, if there's a destabilization of a system, there's a possibility that GPS might have issues, the internet might have issues, electrical grids might have issues, water companies may have issues, hospitals, schools. You get what I'm saying? They might have issues, right? So if you're not able to use GPS to navigate, you need to have maps. That's going to give you the ability to be able to look at the map and be, all right, I need to go east. I need to go east. I need to go west. No, I need to go south. Right. But let's say that roads are a problem. Let's say that it's dangerous to travel on roads, but you've got to get out of where you are. Well, if you have these paper maps and you know how to properly read them, you know how to determine declination, true north, magnetic north, grid north. Well, now, and you got your compass, your protractor. Now you're able to map out a route that bypasses the dangerous areas, but you might have to go on foot. And so also with reading this map, you're able to identify terrain features. You're able to identify if you're coming up on a mountain, coming up on a high hill, coming up on a waterway, coming up on train tracks, a depression. All right, any of these types of things, it puts you in a much better position to be safe in an emergency. So gather your paper maps. Number 9, gather healing books. Super important. Okay. If for whatever reason hospitals or clinics are not available, then you want to have your healing books. The books that tell you exactly what herbs are which and what they do, you want to have that, right? That's so super, super important. I'm telling you right now. If you're on your own, you want to know what is in your environment that could help you heal if you're in an emergency situation, and the closest person that could help you is 50 miles away, right? So things to think about, right? So I highly recommend you getting your books on herbs. Get your paper book copies, right? Maybe you like the PDFs. That's cool. Get your PDFs of these books, but get you a printed version just in case the internet is not working, or you ain't had power for weeks, so now your phone is dead, and you can't, so make sure you got your paper copies of these books, and you'll have a chance when there's a major emergency, if you need, let's say, medical assistance, okay, or you got some kind of a health problem that you'd like a remedy to, okay. Number 10. Number 10 is gather valuables for trade. I want to make sure I put a little bit of emphasis on this, okay? Buy alcohol, buy vodka, buy whiskey, buy bourbon, buy what you know people like to drink, and don't drink it. Put it away, and understand, that what you purchase this extra alcohol for is when money isn't worth anything, or when you go into towns, stores ain't got nothing on the shelves. You'll have something that people will trade almost anything for when the ABC store don't got no alcohol for 6 months to a year. People will do almost anything for alcohol, right? So if you got 50 bottles of it, oh, you're practically a millionaire during a prohibition time frame. Okay, so make sure you got a bunch of alcohol. Make sure you got medicine. Make sure you got things that in an emergency will be considered valuable. If these emergency organizations, FEMA, if the United States military, if they're not, doing what they need to do during these times, and you got to fend for yourself, you want to have something. If you need to trade and you need to get some stuff from people that they got it, you need to have something that's valuable, and the dollar might not be that, right? So alcohol, cigarettes, medicine, uh, various types of things are going to be valuable in these times, right? So figure out what those things are that are valuable to the people around you, and make sure you stockpile those things now, and don't consume them. Number 11, set up your solar power station at your shelter location, right? Make sure you got solar, okay? And they got different kinds of kits on these different online shops. They've got and then they got the big joints, that'll power a washing machine and all these different types of stuff, right? So figure out what solar power station works for you, and go ahead and get that set up, and get familiar with that, because if destabilization is to come very soon, or is happening right now, which I believe is happening right now and has been happening for a little while, well, electric grids might not be available, right? So if you want to have power, you're going to have to harness the power of the earth, the power out of the air, the power from the sun, the power from the wind, right? So that brings us to our next one, number 12, which is set up your wind turbine power stations. Okay. You don't necessarily have to have the big ones that's in Indiana and Ohio and Illinois or California that are huge, right? You don't necessarily have to. They can be much smaller, right? But have some wind turbine power stations. So if you have some days where it's very cloudy and you don't get much solar power, you've got a backup way of getting power, because there might still be a lot of wind. Okay, so these are different options to think about. Now, for staying connected, make sure you've got your solar powered radio. Okay. More than likely, AM and FM radio will still be in operation during an emergency. So your solar power radio will help you to stay in tune with what's going on, even if there's not electricity, even if the power lines or the cable lines are inoperable. You more than likely still have radio broadcasting a frequency. All right, so that is our preparation list. Okay, so let's go into our go bag contents. All right, so everybody should have a go bag. Okay, if you got to get up and go right now, what do you got in that bag? Where is that bag at? What are the places that you frequent on a regular basis? And in these locations, do you have a bag there? Or do you have a bag in your car? Or is the bag just at your house? These locations that you frequent, how long are you there? When you work, are you there for 8 hours? Right? These are things that you want to think about when it comes down to your go bag and your go bag contents. Okay. Super, super important to think about. And when you think about the contents, water filtration. Okay. Super, super important. In a major emergency, one of your most important resources is going to be water. Okay. So, water is not that hard to find. But if you want to be sure that that water is safe to drink, then you're gonna need to make sure you got your water filtration kit within that bag. All right. Number two, have 12 rations of food. Okay, freeze dried. And the reason why you want to freeze dry this food is because it's going to lighten the load. You don't want to make the bag too heavy. Right? You want to make the bag as light as possible to carry. So 12 rations of food should get it done. The next one on the list is topographic maps. All right, you want to have these in your go bags. I honestly recommend that a person has go bags at all locations that they hang out at. A location, have a go bag in their car, definitely at your house. If you got an office or something, or you work somewhere, go bag there, because you never know when you're going to have to go. So, you want to have that go bag readily available, and you want to have topographic maps in it, because if you're not able to move on roads, then you're going to need those maps to be able to maneuver to wherever your shelter location is. And if that shelter location is 20 to 30 miles away and you can't move on roads, well, the only people who are going to make it to their locations more than likely are those who can read maps and who can plot out shoot their azimuths, convert them to magnetic azimuths, declination. Like you got to be able to do this, or and be able to do it while things are uncertain. So have these in your go bag. All right, number 4, have your hygienic supplies. Toothbrush, toothpaste, maybe you need some soap, a washcloth, a towel, or something like that. Have those things in there. Maybe even have like a change of clothes, right? In each of the go bags. And I would say that have a go bag for each of your children. Each of your children should have a bag. Boom, let's go. We got to go now, right? Children need to have go bags. Number 5, get on roottribes.com and get their herbal solutions. Okay. Go on up there and buy whatever it is that you may need for medicine. If somebody in your family is dealing with diabetes, get diabetes reversed. Somebody in your family is dealing with osteoporosis, tell them to go up there and get bone health, right? Purchase these things, because this is the reason why you're going to need holistic health in the very near future. If the hospitals fail, if the clinics fail, and you're not able to go to these places, you're going to need the earth to help you heal. All right. Number 6, Root Tribes Healing Serum. Right. Hop on Root Tribes website and get the healing serum. And this is the reason why. Root Tribes Healing Serum is made with olive oil, yarrow, garlic, and mullein flowers. Okay. And this combination creates this powerful serum that could heal a gunshot wound, that could heal a stabbing wound, cuts, burns, all of that. And it has the power to draw out the poison from a snake bite. Okay. In addition to many other effects that it brings on in its help of the body to heal. Right. So get your healing serum. Number 7, have a powerful slingshot. Your children don't necessarily need to walk around with a 9mm pistol. You don't got to get them a gun. If you get them a powerful slingshot, they can pick up almost any rock, a little pebble off the ground, and they can turn it into a bullet. Okay, so they need to protect themselves. They got the slingshot with them. they'll be good. You know, the things that I really want to stress in this episode of in this episode 24 emergency preparation list of Two Brothers and an Idea is that even though things look uncertain, we have ways that are free that can put us in a position of protection, that can put us in a position of healing at the same time while all of this is going down. All right. I've talked multiple times about Uranus and Gemini and what that means and what's going on and what's happening. And understand that this is a spiritual war, right? This is also the spiritual feminine energy that's being uplifted. It's being raised back to its mantle. This is a glorious time. This is a beautiful time. But this is a beautiful time for those who are prepared and are ready. And when I say ready, I want to be very, very clear that when I say ready, I'm talking about the people who live ready. Not the people who are saying, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm ready. I could do it." No, I'm talking about the people who are living like they're ready, living as ready. They're living ready. Those are the individuals who are going to, like, bullets are going to fly around them. Guns are going to jam when they point them at these people, because this is the energy that's penetrating our earth, penetrating us at the core. And it depends on our vibrational frequency on how we move through this, right? And the people who move through this are going to be the people who harness the earth. They're going to be kicking in doors. You're going to be doing some pretty wild stuff in the years to come. Things are going to get bad, but they're going to get bad for people who are hooked on a Western psychological conditioning. If you're conditioned to have a toilet, you might be screwed. If you're conditioned to have certain things that nature just doesn't provide all on its own, you might be in trouble right now. But if you harness nature right now, if you learn to live in it, you learn to consume nature for your food, you learn to use nature for your healing, you will be exalted and you will be raised up. So I hope everybody out there is stays blessed. I wanted to come on today and give this emergency preparation list and give anybody out there the information that they need if they'd like to prepare, which I recommend. But it's up to each person out there to prepare on their own. If you like some help, feel free to hit the links down in the description, and we can talk, and I can lead you down the pathway that would be successful for the life that you'd like to live. Lead you down the pathway of how to be prepared for what's happening. But understand that there's a full breakdown that's happening right now with Vatican City, Israel, Great Britain, the United States of America, and the countries that are aligned with the United Nations. This is a destabilization that's taking place in real time right now. It's not happening 10 years from now. It's happening right now. Just today. Today is October 1st, 2024. I saw on a CNN post on Instagram that Iran attacked Israel. It has begun. Y'all be blessed and expose your gift.